Hi, I'm Christopher Dunnigan. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge Dorset Dark Sky Friendly Outdoor Lantern. This is the 365203, part of a larger family of Dorset fixtures. Also a post light. There's also some beautiful sconces that will go with this, so we want to check those all out too. Why don't we get into the glass to begin with on this? You're going to have two options, and you can see there's a pull-down menu just up here where it's going to say choose your glass, and one of those is going to be Hubbardton Forge's opal glass, which is an opaque white glass which will hide everything. Even though this is kind of high up in the housing, you may elect to do some other bulbs, which we'll talk about later on, and that opaque glass will hide all of that. The other glass, and I actually will talk about more on opal glass later in this video because it's not just a frosted white glass. There's a lot going on with the glass itself. The other option is going to be called seeded clear, and that's going to be a clear glass handmade with little tiny air bubbles, and it gives you this option to have these anywhere from more traditional, kind of like a Williamsburg, Virginia, or a Beacon Hill, Boston look, all the way to contemporary. And you can do that by really just choosing the right glass and choosing different metal finishes to do that. So it lets you be designer all the way across the board. Let's talk about a couple other quick little details on this. So this is coming in at 14.6 pounds. It's very light. Canopy up on the ceiling is 4.6 inches in diameter. It's going to go over your standard 4-inch junction box, and it's about that thick. And then this is going to ship with 20 feet of wire and 1 foot of chain. If you need more chain, you can just email us and say, we need this to be X long from the ceiling to the bottom of the fixture. You might be swagging it, who knows, but you may need more chain. Tell us what you need, and then I will figure out a quote on the chain for you. It's easy to put chain together. There's a simple tool you can buy on Amazon for less than 20 bucks called a chain separator. Picture of it right next to me. We have the one here. Your installer should have it. It opens and closes chain so you can add pieces together and use as much as you need. Okay, moving on. Why don't we talk about a couple of the quick things here? Let's talk about the size of this fixture itself, 22.7 inches, and that's going to be before you get to your chain. So that's like from the top loop to the very bottom, and then it's 14.6 by 14.6. I want to show you a little bit more information about a lot of this stuff, and how we're going to do it is we're going to take a quick look at the installations instructions now. So if you're on the page for this on Handmade in Vermont, look over that side of the screen. Midway down you're going to see a link. It's going to say click here for installations instructions PDF. So open that up for me. It's going to show you a full parts list, how things go together, which is very simple, but it's going to show you some good line drawings, including drawings of the canopy that you really don't see in the photographs of this when you look online. Okay, why don't we talk about what's going on as far as lamping goes. Why don't we talk about California customers just quickly to begin with. And California customers, if you're building new construction and pulling permits, or doing a renovation and pulling permits, and the nice California building inspector is coming down to visit you, he may or she may ask for this. This is a GU24 socket. This is a GU24 bulb. These come also as dark sky compliant or dark sky friendly par 20s, which is kind of like this, but it would have that top on it, and they basically allow you to not use or stop you from using incandescent bulbs. So that's what that's all about, the California Title 24. So that's only if you're pulling permits and they're coming to see you. Talk to your contractor, your electrician, about if you're going to need that, if you're in that situation. If you're not, you can just use this, and this is just a medium base socket that's going to come with it anyway, and it just takes a medium base bulb, very simple. The bulb that you're going to use to stay within the whole dark sky idea is called a par 20. So this is a par 20, a screw-in version, and the idea with a par 20 reflector is it shoots light in one direction, and the direction you want is down, obviously, for dark sky, because you don't want light pollution going up or out. Sometimes you're in these places like Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire, where they have restrictions on, like, you don't want to see the lights of the guy across the lake, and the same thing for Phoenix up in the hills. So you might want to just kind of check on those little things when you're looking at dark sky things like this. I'm going to talk more about dark sky compliancy certificates versus dark sky friendly later in this video, and it's important you hold on for that. So back to our guy here. So it shoots light in one direction, keeps you in your dark sky idea. But if you just happen to like the fixture and it has nothing to do with the dark sky idea, you can use other bulbs in this too. So you can use an A19, an A19 standard LED. You can still use an incandescent up to 75 watts. There's another LED. These are the little bit more old school ones. These are the newer ones I like because they shoot light in all directions. Versus these, they kind of shoot light more up at the top, and you get a hot spot and a cooler spot down into the socket. This doesn't do this. This kind of does a nice job throwing light everywhere it needs to be. And I can find these A19 LEDs, they're just called clear LEDs, pretty much everywhere. I can find them at Home Depot, I can find them at Lowe's, Walmart, Amazon, wherever you go. Sometimes even dollar stores carry them, in drugstores. My grocery store in Vermont sells these, so you can get them there. You can get them anywhere. And then going back to our glass story, you know, depending on what you have going on, you might want to have something like this, and maybe the more like the really more traditional Thomas Edison ones that are kind of old-timey, have a little point on the bottom, and they in that with the clear glass can make it look almost like candlelight, almost like a gas light, like you're walking along Charles Street in Beacon Hill in Boston, that kind of look. And you might be looking for that too. However, you can, like I said, put all kinds of different things in this. And this is an A20, and this is a 100-watt equivalent A20. These A19s I've found up to 100-watt equivalent. These A20 and A21s are pretty big, but they still will fit into the fixture. And that's your only limitation when you get into LEDs. Will it fit into the fixture itself? And these all do. So I can find this up to 150-watt equivalent LED. I can find it up to 200 watts. I've even found these at 300 watts, but most people don't, equivalent, but most people don't need to go there. The color of the light, like I mentioned a second ago, is going to vary in these LEDs when they offer them to you. They're going to talk to about 2700 Kelvin. That's going to be a super yellow light. It goes back to our gas light, candlelight idea. And there may be circumstances where you're going to be putting these around your pool, maybe on a porch, on a deck, screened-in porch, and you're going to hang out with your friends late into the evening. You want to be able to dim these down to be like candlelight, which would be pretty cool. The fixture is dimmable without any problem. It's the bulb that you have to zero in on about the dimmable part of this equation. They're also going to offer these bulbs to you in something called daylight. And daylight, that's that bluish white light. That's the one I'm not so crazy about. I talk about it all the time in these videos. That's 4,000, 5,000 Kelvin on the Kelvin scale. It's kind of like a convenience store light. What I like to use in my showroom is warm white, soft white. That's the light coming down from these 3,000 Kelvin bulbs, and it's probably like one of these guys. So anyway, that's kind of what we would do, warm white, soft white. But again, like I said, if you want to go for a more traditional candlelight look, that would be your 2,700 Kelvin. They're all going to be offered to you in all these stores, so just kind of zero in on what your needs are, the color, the temperature of the light, and then will you need it to be dimmable. Let's talk about for a second the differences between dark sky friendly and dark sky compliant lighting fixtures. So in the United States, there's actually a private corporation called the International Dark Sky Association that owns the rights and the trademark to the entire dark sky compliancy issue. Not only do they set the limits and the specifications about what fixtures can be dark sky compliant, but they charge lighting manufacturers for the right to use their certification and certificate on their fixtures. Hubbardton Forge manufactures their dark sky friendly fixtures to the exact same specifications as if they were going to be dark sky compliant. They just choose not to pay for that lighting certificate from Dark Sky International. So if you're going in front of a HOA, like a homeowners association, maybe a zoning administrator, someplace that is going to require dark sky certificates for your lighting that you need to purchase for your project, you might want to come to us first and ask for the data sheets. The data sheets are going to show that these are dark sky, well, made to the same specifications of dark sky compliant, just not using that certificate. So you can take those to the board or whoever you're going to be seeing before you order your fixtures, which is a very good idea, and you can be well armed with the correct data to present to them. I want to touch base on Hubbardton Forge's opal glass for just a second. So all of Hubbardton Forge's glass to begin with is going to be hand blown. This piece is hand blown first in clear, then they're going to come in and they're going to blow another layer of white glass on the inside of this. The third step is they're going to take and they're going to sandblast the whole thing on the inside and the outside. That's going to give you this beautiful, mellow, translucent, milky piece of glass. When you look at this and you can see the layers are actually piled up on the inside of this. Hubbardton Forge is very obsessed about details on all of their pieces, including their glass, and that's why you're here, because you're probably just as obsessed about little details as well. Hubbardton Forge only uses aircraft-grade aluminum to make their outdoor fixtures. Aluminum holds up the best in incredibly harsh environments. When you're out and you look up in the sky and you see all those jet airliners running around up there, those are all made out of aluminum for a reason. And part of that reason is it It holds up great, like I said. It also forges beautifully. It holds finish beautifully. It doesn't rust. Remember that. It's very important. And they're virtually indestructible when they're all finished. So how Hubbardton does it is they take the fixture itself, they're going to wire it up at the top, they're going to put a wire at the bottom, they're going to send a current of electricity that's going to go through this fixture, making it positive, and they put it into a spray booth with a picture of the woman next to me. You can see she's spraying finish around it, and because it's positive, it's going to adhere to every nook, every cranny, the top, the bottom, the whole thing. After that, they're going to take this and they're going to move it into an oven. That oven is going to melt all of that down and create a very hard shell. So it makes it, again, virtually indestructible. So they've also tested these things in these wind chambers. So they take the fixture, all covered in that epoxy powder coat. It's going to go into that chamber. They're going to shoot salty seawater at it at high velocity for hours and hours and hours, just like you were at the beach and you have like a hurricane coming in, which to me is going to be pretty much the worst environment you're going to run into. So after they tested these and found out that they hold up incredibly well, Hubbardton Forge offers basically the best warranty in the lighting industry. And you can see that on the page for this. So if you scroll down a little bit, there's a link, and click on that, and it'll show you the entire warranty and how it all works. Okay, showroom. Our showroom in Vermont has over 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures. This is the biggest showroom in the world of Hubbardton Forge. No other showroom is like this. Hubbardton Forge doesn't even have their own showroom. They use this one. What's on display? We have a great tab on that. And those same red tabs, you're going to see a what's on display page. So open that up. It's going to show you everything we have on display, and including which finish, which shade, all of those things, and what kind of glass it's on there. We're open every day except Sunday, 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have an amazing clearance center. Clearance center stuff is 75% off MSRP. It's returns, discontinued stuff, showroom samples. You have to come here to use it. Can't call us or email us about it, but it's definitely worth coming in to look at if you're in Vermont. Plus you want to use the showroom anyway because there's just so much great stuff here to see. Our number in Vermont, 802-446-2400. You can email us 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Love to answer emails, and it's sales@HandmadeInVermont.com. So when you order from HandmadeInVermont.com, shipping is going to be free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. No tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont. And we're the only dealer with 90-day returns, no restocking fee. Nobody else does that. Some larger items are going to be non-returnable. It's going to be really important that you are looking at the fixture on that page and kind of scroll down under the description. It'll tell you if that is the case. And that's usually for really big, giant, huge fixtures, mostly that go out on pallets. Okay, that's it. Rush program. Let's talk about that. So rush program, Hubbardton Forge generally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to go out the door. That's production time before your transit time. You always have to add that on too. We offer a rush program that takes you from that 3 to 4 weeks down to a little under 2 weeks. It's a very small addition per line item. So if you have like 1, 2, 3 items, like let's say 3 or 4 outdoor sconces, and they're all the same size and they're all the same finish, that's one line item. So it's very inexpensive to rush those kind of things. Don't be afraid to email us and ask about that. Okay, so that's really it. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. We would love to see you in our showroom sometime. And thanks for stopping in.